All right. Wild times we live in, but I've got some hope. I've got some what I believe is encouragement to those of us that are creators, to those of us that have been making music for a while. And I want to talk about the power of Providence and highlight two different cases that I think will hopefully encourage a lot of you guys. So before we get into that, let me drop the intro.
I don't need nothing else. Every time I'm with you, yo, it's something else. It's a fact, and it's nothing else. Got your hand out, you don't even need a help. Ooh, I don't need nothing else. Every time I'm with you, yo, it's something else. It's a fact, and it's nothing else. Got your hand out, you don't even need a help. Ooh, that's right. I don't need nothing else. That's right.
What's going on? It's Ruslan with King's Dream. ENT.com. This channel exists to encourage, empower, inspire you to live God's dream for your life. We're going to be talking about the power of Providence. Now, let me just break it down this way. There's a lot of us who are creators, a lot of us who have been making music, have been making maybe YouTube videos, have had a podcast, so on and so forth. And we sometimes work for a while, for a really long time, on developing our gifting, developing the products around our small businesses that we're trying to sell. And sometimes it doesn't seem to cut through for whatever reason. And it's that piece in the book of Outliers that talks about providence and timing, right? Opportunity, meeting preparation. And I wanted to highlight two different cases, two different stories, not so much about me, but about us as creators, and hopefully give you some context. Now, a lot of us are making art, a lot of us are making music, and maybe the needle's not moving. Maybe we've been working for a very long time. Maybe we know that we're talented, and we know that we're good, and maybe it's started to build some momentum, but it hasn't hit that peak, right? And as I was reflecting this morning with my wife, we were watching a friend of mine, Pastor Miles McPherson, and I got to participate in this really cool thing in 2008 called the Third 2018, called The Third Option. And The Third Option was a book that Pastor Miles wrote. He's a pastor of the biggest church in San Diego called the Rock Church. Super dope church. If you're ever in San Diego, come check it out. He was a former NFL player, started this church in 2000. They just turned 20 years old. And in 2018, the end of 2018, someone reached out to me from his team and said, hey, we want you to participate in this book. And I was like, for sure. So I wrote a song called The Third Option. It's on Indy Jones 3. Some of you guys may have seen a music video. We partnered on a music video. I got to be on a telecast. And I remember getting an advance copy of this book. And I was like, yo, Pastor Miles' heart is so dope. This is like what we need. He's talking about racial reconciliation. He's incorporating sociology. He's incorporating, obviously, his faith. And he's just moving towards bringing people together in a divided, polarized nation, and learning how to treat people from your out group like your in group, and finding those things that you have. It was like such a dope book. I loved the book, and some of you guys may have even read it, right? And here's what happened though. It came out, and I just remember being a part of this whole rollout. They did a really good telecast across multiple churches. This super dope thing. And for whatever reason, I just felt like, yo, this is not getting the shine that it should get. I don't understand why is this not cutting through the way that it should cut through, in my opinion, right? And so I did my part. I would tell people about it, I'd promote it, told my pastor about it, so on and so forth. And in my opinion, I don't know how the rest of the team feels, or if Pastor Miles is watching this, it doesn't really matter. But I just felt like, for as good as a communicator as he was, for as amazing as a person, a great of a story, the application, it just, to me, didn't cut through at the level I felt like it should have. And then just this week, within the last 2 weeks since the George Floyd situation, since, the Black Lives Matter protest, all this stuff that's been swelling up, the book has went way up in sales, and he's redoing the series on his YouTube, and it is blowing me away how well this book is doing. And it made me think about, and I'm gonna pull up his Instagram real quick just to brag on him a bit. Hopefully this is it. And they posted this on Instagram today, and this really encouraged me. It said, thank you, The Third Option is temporarily sold out online. The Third Option is temporarily sold out online. And I was like, yo, This brother wrote an amazing book. It was so great. It was dope. It was excellently done. The marketing, everything. I mean, they did everything they could. And it didn't hit its peak when it came out. It hit its peak 2 years later when everything that he was trying to prevent, he was trying to help, swelled up, and then it hit. And it didn't just hit like because the book sold out. What happened was he was on Anderson Cooper, CNN. He's on Pastor Chris Durso. He's interviewed across all these different churches, all these major national and local news platforms. And it goes to show that a lot of times we may have something special. God may have deposited something in us, a talent, a gift, a voice, or a vision. And sometimes we as creatives can naturally be kind of narcissistic, right? We want to be famous. We want to have attention. We want all these things. But when we reverse engineer and we say, instead of how can I be famous or how can I grow my numbers? How can I get more popping? How can I be the most helpful right now? How can I be the most blessing that I possibly can be right now? Reverse engineer. Stop that thinking of it's about me, it's about me. Usually the things that we become experts on that we could add value to people are the things that come from adversity and trials and overcoming things. And that doesn't happen all the time when you're 20 or 21. Sometimes that takes a while, right? Sometimes that takes time. I'm going to bring in somebody from our own Patreon community to highlight some of his story of this idea of providence and God's timing on things. Is it doesn't always happen. I'm sure if it was up to Pastor Miles McPherson, this book would have came out in 2018 and it would have been a huge success and a #1 bestseller on all those lists. But it did okay, but it didn't do good. And now they're selling, they can't even keep up with the demand of the books because it's now getting national attention and it's now getting eyeballs that I think it always deserved, in my opinion. But it took the collective consciousness of America to finally catch on. And so I say all that to say, maybe the questions we should be asking isn't how do I get more followers or how do I get more eyeballs or how do I get more pop? And maybe the questions we should be asking is how do I add more value? How can I be helpful in these times? Right? How can I be helpful in these times? And so even with my video that I did, Unhelpful Responses to Black Lives Matter, I didn't do that for views. I did that to be helpful, right? I did that because I wanted to help my white brothers and sisters be helpful in this situation and not say things that will get them unfriended on Facebook by their black friends, as if that's the least of our worries right now, but that's a real thing. I wanted to be helpful, and when we change our posture to be helpful and to document and to tell our story, it positions us for providence. It positions us to that. And so the Pastor Miles things really blessed me. I wanted to bring in my man Bartholomew Jones, who's been doing music for a while, and he's been dope for a while, but it's within the last couple weeks that things really started escalating for him because it's the timing, it's the providence, it's the consistency, and then that one idea that maybe you stumbled across blows up. So Bart, I got you pinned up, bro, if you want to unmute yourself. This is Bartholomew Jones.
What's good, bro?
He's been a part of the Patreon community for a while, and he's been. How long have you been making music, bro?
Man, since like I don't know. I've been doing this since I was a little kid, but like I've been recording since maybe like 2010.
2010, so 10 years.
Yep.
10 years you've been making music, and the thing right now that is bringing the most amount of attention and the most amount of like success to you is CxffeeBlack. Talk about that real quick.
Yeah. So, my name is Bartholomew Jones. I'm an educator. I'm an MC. I'm a coffee nerd. And like around June last year, me and the homies was in the studio. We had this idea of basically being like, yo, what if we came out with our own brand of coffee called Gucci Mane? That was my man, Matt Majors, who had that idea. And so like I had a streetwear brand already that was kind of lined up with a lot of my music. And we dropped the coffee as like just basically like merch, you know what I mean? It was just merch for the music, but it was like creative merch. And then it sold out really quickly, primarily to like 90% Black people. We sold like 50 pounds in less than 10 days in June. And so we kept doing it, and the Lord ended up causing me to move away from the job I was at. I know, Ruslan, you remember that phone call when the school we started closed. And so, yeah, man, like I turned down a lot of really dope teaching jobs to keep pursuing this because coffee is something that comes from Africa. It comes from African people. It was discovered by Ethiopian people. The story goes, a dude named KD discovered it. And yet somehow now coffee is $100 billion industry. And Black people, it's actually the second largest industry after oil. So, I mean, and coffee is not.
Yo, coffee is the second largest industry after oil? I did not know that.
Yes, it's like the second biggest export in the world. And yet Black people who discovered it, they don't even get 1% of, you know, that total value, that market value when it comes to how much money they actually generate within it. Even though the Black people and indigenous people are the people growing it, and Black people and brown people are the people who live in the neighborhoods where many of these coffee shops are being planted, they're not able to really participate in the economy. And so our whole dream was like, man, maybe this is something God can use to bring liberation to people, to bring generational wealth, to help families start businesses and get out of poverty. And so we started this whole educational brand where we teach people about the origins of coffee. We teach them how to make coffee. We make our own coffee. We create apparel. We create music, just trying to create like Black coffee culture and pass it on to other people. And man, this last week, I think it went crazy, bro. Like everything went crazy in a good way. You know, I saw one of my friends, there's a common phrase where people say, you know, love Black people like you love Black culture. And I just flipped it. And I think a lot of our best selling shirts are just like spins on phrases that I see in media that I think apply to coffee. Cause I'm into this thing called third wave coffee, which is like I said, I'm a coffee nerd, right? So people like, you know, we got our scales and our kettles, and it's like bagging up dope, you know what I mean? That's what it looks like. There's like a science experiment in here, and people like pay attention to the varietal of the coffee, and, you know, the grind particle size and total dissolved solids in the liquid. So it's like, yo, we do all this work for like to make this really good cup of Black coffee, but we don't put any effort into loving Black people. And I think if we did treat it, it's kind of ironic, you know, that we pay attention to this export in general. Even when you think about hip hop, you know, like they just did a study, trap music, the most popular genre of music in the world. And a lot of times Black people are not benefiting in the industry. You know what I mean? Like people are in crazy deals. People are not taking positions in other parts of the industry when it comes to like the parts that actually generate revenue, you know what I mean? Owning labels and things like that. And it's like, if we would invest in our own art forms as opposed to letting them kind of get colonized, I think we would see a big uplift in the community, and people wouldn't have to turn to illicit means.
Yeah,
so
that's good.
That's something that's crazy, bro.
So right now, I want to say, let's just talk about what happened within the last week, right?
Okay, dope, yeah.
You have this idea for a shirt, right? And you really, it was just a graphic flip. Love Black people the way you love Black culture, right? It was a graphic flip.
I did it on my phone.
Yeah, and then people, that's crazy. And then people started asking you for this shirt. So then you did this shirt, you did
this one right here.
That's the shirt right there, right? And I pre-ordered mine, you should pre-order yours. We did the pre-order of the shirt, and then
Talk about that phone call though, bro.
Well, yeah, so Bart called me and he was like, "Yo, I'm trying to do this shirt," and then he was talking. You was talking about Shopify.
Capital. So they have Shopify. Our shops in Shopify, which I think one of the best things you can ever do is start Shopify. You get a month free. You sell one thing, you pay for the next month. You know what I mean? And then just work from there. But yeah, I'm really trying to get on my homies on that. But no, I called you. They have this loan option where they basically give you capital and they take a percentage of your revenue. And so I was like, man, people really want this design. Originally, it was just like a flyer or like a poster for the wall. I wanted to make it a shirt. And, you know, shout out to you again with the plugs on our wholesale options for shirts and stuff like that. Like the minimum order is like 200, you know, and so then plus the designs would be another like 70. So I was like, that's like $300. I don't have that on hand because I'm trying to be debt free.
Right.
And so I was like, man, I could take out this loan here, execute that way. I could go through Printful and do drop shipping, or we could do pre-orders. And I kind of wasn't sure which one to do. So I hit you and you were like, yo, man, I don't believe in debt of any kind.
No debt, baby.
So serious right
no
now.
Debt.
But I'm really glad you said that, bro, because just putting that money on us and clearly communicating to people, hey, we need, like, bro, I'm gonna keep it a buck, dog. Somebody sent me the $300 on just off the strength. That was like, I got you on the 300. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Like, that's just a donation through PayPal.
Yep.
And we probably received, probably, I don't know, 7, 8, 9 more donations like that, where people were just like, oh, that's how much you need. We got you. We support the cause.
How many pre-orders did you do?
Right now we're looking at 762 shirts.
Let's go!
And we got about 200 coffee orders and around 50
no debt.
other orders.
No debt. We ain't playing with the big banks. We ain't playing with the big banks who been trying to keep people in chains. We go. You went straight to the consumer. You went straight to the consumer, and you had the consumer cash flow, the idea. But here's what I want you guys to catch. Here's the big idea, guys. This wasn't his first shirt. This wasn't his second shirt. This wasn't an album pre-order, right? And so if 10 years ago I came to you and I was like, Bart, your breakthrough moment where you really cut through as an entrepreneur is gonna be this logo flip of a shirt about black coffee, I would have told you that 10 years ago. Your narrative and your path probably would have seemed different. You probably would have been like, nah, bro, I'm gonna make it as a rapper.
Black coffee then,
right, you didn't even, that's what I'm talking about with Providence. That's what I'm talking about with Providence. Like, the right product at the right time is amazing. Like, and it can cut through. And so you as a black business owner are, like, you're the epitome of, like, Providence right now, because you have a product. This stuff is happening in culture. We need to respond. You know what I'm saying? We do need to support black businesses for a fact. You know what I'm saying? And as a white man, there's nothing wrong about that. Like, we should be supporting black.
You cop the hoodie.
Yeah, I'm copping everything Bart puts out. I'm copping everything Bart puts out. And I ain't asking for a discount code. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
like, I'm not asking for a discount code. I'm copping everything he puts out because I believe in what he's doing. And then to find out, like, this brother's trying to buy up the block. Like, he's trying to transform his own neighborhood and create economic opportunity for others.
Yeah, we just bought the empty lot next to our house.
Let's go. I wish I had my sound effects, because that deserves a bomb and an explosion effect. But guys, I want y'all to be encouraged that, like, a lot of us have been grinding for a minute. A lot of us have been putting in work. And when I look up and I see Bart, and financially is finally cutting through, and having that call with him when he's like, yo, I just got laid off. Like, I want to go for this, but it's just, you know what I mean? And like trying to brainstorm and structure stuff, seeing his platform take off, seeing Belief's platform take off, seeing Pastor Miles's platform take off, like seeing friends of mine on Anderson Cooper, like this is crazy. At book launches that didn't probably meet his initial expectations, and having a book that was so timely and then not cutting through, but then it cutting through 2 years later. Like, guys, this should inspire us. We should celebrate it. We should be excited for people who are doing this stuff, because it just shows that it's not linear. It's not linear. It's not going to be, I'm going to do A, and then B is going to happen, and then C is going to happen, and then I'm going to be a millionaire. Like, it's not how it works. Like, sometimes you're in the trenches, you're grinding by yourself for a decade. He'd been doing music for a decade, and then he stumbled across the product, and the music became a commercial for the product of CxffeeBlack and the merchandise of CxffeeBlack. You know what I mean?
And it's huge. It's like, that's why ownership is so important, because you can own something and it can make money for you in 5 years. But if you don't own anything, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't have any type of intellectual property. So one of the things we started was these podcasts about the Black history of coffee. And like those been going crazy too, like doubling, tripling, quadrupling views. And we're only 2 episodes in, but like, I didn't know if those would hit or not. I just knew I was passionate about it, but because we had the coffee and the music. And the craziest thing was that other stuff on the site went up. You know what I mean? Like, this shirt went crazy, but because we had already invested in a bunch of ideas, all those ideas at least doubled or tripled. You know what I mean?
Let's go. And here's just catch this, guys. It started by trying to be helpful. It didn't start about, it's not about Bartholomew Jones, the amazing art. And he's an amazing artist. Like, his music is dope. When it comes to me bragging on the Patreon community, he's usually one of the people I go to. Him, Conscience, Bats. Like, that's one of the people I brag. But it wasn't about him being this amazing artist. It was about him saying, I want to be helpful and what? And educate and inspire and encourage and empower Black people to take this part of culture. And I'm not even in the target demographic, but I'm just like, that's the homie I gotta support. Like I don't even drink coffee. Like I don't even drink coffee. I started drinking coffee because of this man.
Black, though.
I drank it black though. I drank it black, and my wife made her batch, and then it was like, yo, this is a concentrate. This is mad strong. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's the dope part. So, guys, be encouraged, be inspired. We're gonna keep this discussion going offline. If you guys are watching on YouTube and you wanna hop on, feel free to do so. I don't wanna go super long. I'm gonna post my interview with Pastor Miles because I think it's important to highlight what he's doing. I'm gonna repost that tomorrow on the YouTube. Go read the third option. Go to CxffeeBlack with an X where the O is. That Shopify. I think it's in the description of this video. Go buy some coffee, go buy a t-shirt. I wish I would have had that t-shirt for the protest. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna wear it even if it's not a protest. Like that's because the message is that strong, man. So appreciate y'all rocking with us. We gonna get offline and chop it up privately. If you want to do that,